My people, what is really going on in this country? The name Nnamdi Kanu is once again shaking social media, courtrooms, and even living rooms across Nigeria. You know, every time this man appears in court, something dramatic always happens. But this time, what people are talking about is not just the case. It's the way he acted, the way he spoke, and what came out of that courtroom. And that's why we're hearing this trending headline. Nnamdi Kanu is no longer sounding like a normal person. That's what Joe Igbokwe said after what he called a dramatic showdown in court. Now, before we break this down, please, if you're just joining us, make sure you like this video right now and subscribe to the channel, because what I'm about to tell you will open your eyes to what's really happening behind the headlines. So, what really happened? From all reports reaching us, the court session where Kanu appeared recently was not a quiet one. It was tense, emotional, and loud. Kanu reportedly came into court looking strong, confident, but something was different about him this time. Instead of allowing his lawyers to speak for him as usual, he took control of the courtroom himself. He dismissed some of his legal team and boldly told the court that he would represent himself. Imagine that. A man standing trial for terrorism saying he will handle his own defense before a federal judge. That alone got everybody's attention. Now, when he started speaking, people said his tone was fiery. He wasn't calm at all. He questioned the court's authority, saying there was no valid terrorism law in Nigeria to even try him. He said everything happening to him was unlawful. According to some reports, he went further to accuse the system of being unfair and biased. The courtroom got so heated that even observers were surprised. And that's when Joe Igbokwe, a well-known politician and a long-time critic of Kanu, came out to say that Kanu is no longer sounding like a normal person. He claimed that what Kanu said and the way he behaved in court didn't make sense anymore. Now, whether you agree with Joe Igbokwe or not, one thing is clear. This case has entered a very serious stage. The judge has already warned that if Kanu fails to properly present his defense, the court might close that chance and move straight to judgment. That means the window for him to defend himself is closing fast. And guess what? The court has now fixed November 20th as the date to deliver judgment. Yes, November 20th, that's just around the corner. So this drama we're seeing right now is building up to something big. Please don't forget to like this video if you haven't yet, and also subscribe, because we'll continue following this story closely and you don't want to miss any update. Now let's talk about why Joe Igbokwe's comment caught so much attention. Joe Igbokwe has always been outspoken when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu. He believes that Kanu's approach, especially his past calls for Biafra, has caused division and tension in Nigeria. He has often said the federal government should not release Kanu because doing so would weaken the country's unity. So when he saw Kanu's latest court outburst, he used that moment to reinforce his belief that Kanu's actions show instability, that maybe he's losing control, or that he's too emotional to handle his own defense. But you know what? Many people don't agree with Joe Igbokwe. A lot of Kanu's supporters say, no, he's not crazy or abnormal. He's just tired, frustrated, and expressing the pain of injustice. They believe that after years of detention, anyone in his shoes would react the same way. They're saying he's only fighting for his rights, and that speaking boldly in court doesn't make him unsound. It makes him brave. What do you think? Do you think Joe Igbokwe is right or wrong? You can drop your opinion in the comments section, but remember, please keep it respectful and calm. And yes, don't forget to subscribe while you're at it, because we bring you verified updates without hate or bias. Now, let's take a closer look at the bigger picture here. This trial is not just about one man and the court. It's about Nigeria's justice system. It's about the Southeast people watching closely. And it's about how the government handles sensitive cases that touch on regional or ethnic issues. Because let's be honest, the Nnamdi Kanu case is more than a legal matter. It's political, emotional, and historical. We're talking about a man whose name has become a symbol of the Biafran movement, whose voice has influenced millions of people and whose arrest in 2021 caused both protest and celebration, depending on where you stood. And now, after years in DSS custody, he's still in court, still fighting, still challenging the system. You can imagine the tension. Supporters see him as a freedom fighter, a man standing for self-determination.
Opponents see him as a man causing division and insecurity, and the court is right in the middle, trying to balance the law, the politics, and the public pressure. Please pause for 1 second. If you are still listening, click the like button right now. It helps us a lot. And subscribe too, so you don't miss part 2 of this gist when it drops. Now let's talk about Kanu's choice to represent himself. Some legal experts are saying it's a risky move. In court, representing yourself in a serious case like this is not something that usually ends well. The law is complex. Even trained lawyers struggle with some of these procedures. So some people think Kanu is making an emotional decision, not a strategic one. But others say it's part of his statement that he doesn't trust the system, doesn't trust even his lawyers anymore, and just wants to speak for himself. That's why when Joe Igbokwe said he's not sounding like a normal person, supporters quickly fired back, saying, no, he's just tired of manipulation. But one thing is sure, that statement, whether fair or not, has kept everyone talking. You can check online, the headline is everywhere, people are reacting, and both supporters and critics are arguing non-stop. Now, beyond the courtroom, this matter also connects to how Nigeria deals with dissenting voices. Because remember, IPOB, the group Kanu leads, is banned by the federal government, but it still has strong support across the southeast and even among Nigerians abroad. So the way this case ends could affect peace and unity in that region. If the court's final decision is seen as fair, it might calm things down.
But if it's seen as biased or political, it could spark more anger. So we can't ignore the tension. Even now, many Southeast groups are calling for dialogue instead of punishment. Some are saying that keeping Kanu in detention for this long without a clear resolution is not helping peace. Others are warning that releasing him without proper caution could reignite separatist activities. So you see, it's not black and white, it's a delicate balance. And this is where people like Joe Igbokwe and other public figures come in. Their statements shape how the public thinks. That's why every word matters. Saying Kanu is no longer sounding like a normal person might seem like just an opinion, but it can influence how people perceive the entire case. That's why we must always be careful with our words,
especially when national unity is at stake. Let's take a short breath here. And if you're still with me, please like this video right now. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button so we can continue bringing you balanced updates like this. Now, back to the matter. The big question right now is, what will happen on November 20th, when the court is expected to give its judgment? That date is already causing tension. Inside sources say the security agencies are preparing for possible reactions from both sides, whether Kanu is released or convicted. They know that no matter what happens, emotions will run high. If he's freed, his supporters will celebrate massively. If he's not, there could be renewed agitation. So you can imagine how sensitive this period is. People close to the case say the government is under pressure. Some top political figures are quietly advising President Tinubu's administration to handle the outcome with wisdom, because this isn't just another legal story. It's a national unity issue. They're saying that how this government responds could shape how the Southeast feels about Nigeria for years to come. And honestly, they have a point. Let's also remember that Kanu has been in custody for several years now. He was first arrested, granted bail, later rearrested abroad and brought back to Nigeria. That entire process caused international attention, with some human rights groups asking questions about how he was brought back. Since then, he's been in the custody of the DSS, appearing in court occasionally, and each time something dramatic happens. So by now, people are emotionally drained. Some just want the case to end. Others want him to get justice. Others want peace, regardless of the outcome. But there's another twist here. Kanu's legal argument that there is no valid terrorism law in Nigeria has raised eyebrows. Some legal experts say that even if he's wrong in law, it's a clever strategy. It forces the court to look at the foundation of the case, not just the evidence. If the court agrees with him, even slightly, it could affect other ongoing cases under the same law. But if the court dismisses his argument, then the judgment could move quickly in the government's favor. So you see, it's more complicated than it looks on the surface. Now, I want you to really think about what's happening here. On one hand, you have a man who says he's fighting for the rights of his people. On the other hand, you have a government saying,
we must protect the country's unity and stop anything that looks like division. Both sides are strong. Both sides have millions of supporters. But when two elephants fight, it's the ground, that is, ordinary Nigerians, that suffers. That's why it's so important that this case ends in a way that promotes peace, not chaos. Please, take 1 second and click the like button right now if you're still watching, and subscribe to support this kind of balanced discussion. It really helps the channel grow and keeps you updated when news like this breaks. Now let's talk about Joe Igbokwe again for a second. He's a Lagos-based politician, and he's been very vocal against the Biafra movement. Some people say his reaction to Kanu's court behavior is political, that he's just using the moment to prove a point.
Others say he's genuinely concerned about stability in the southeast, but whichever way you look at it, his comment, no longer sounding like a normal person, hit hard because it sounded personal. It sounded like he wasn't just talking about Kanu's court speech, but questioning his state of mind. And that's where the debate started online. Supporters of Kanu started asking, why would you call a man who has been in detention for so long not normal? Have you gone through what he's going through? They see his passion as courage. Meanwhile, Kanu's critics say his outbursts prove he's not capable of leading any serious movement. That he's too emotional, too defiant, too unpredictable. So it's a war of perception, one side seeing courage, the other side seeing instability. Now here's something interesting.
A few Southeast elders and opinion leaders are already appealing for calm. They're telling the youth not to protest or react violently no matter what happens in court. They say violence won't help the cause. It will only make things worse. They're calling for dialogue and political solutions. Even some people within government circles believe that after the judgment, there might be room for negotiation or reconciliation. That tells you this story is not ending in court alone. The aftermath may open a new chapter. And we have to talk about Kanu himself, his physical and mental condition. Many of his visitors, including lawyers and relatives, have said he's not doing well health-wise. They claim he's been denied proper medical attention in detention. His legal team has been asking the court to allow him better medical care.
But according to them, it hasn't been fully granted. That could also explain his recent emotional reaction in court. Imagine being locked up for years, waiting for justice, feeling unheard, and then standing in court one more time. You might lose your calm too. Still, there are those who say Kanu must control his emotions because every word he says in that courtroom counts. Every statement becomes part of the record, part of how the judge and the public perceive him. So even though many understand his frustration, they also fear that his anger could hurt his case. That's why some people wish he didn't dismiss his lawyers. They could have helped him channel that passion more carefully. Please, my friend, if you're still following this gist, like this video right now and subscribe. It takes 1 second, but it really helps spread this message of peace and understanding. Now let's think of the possible outcomes. If the court frees him on November 20th, Nigeria will witness massive celebration in the southeast. People will pour out on the streets, singing, dancing, thanking God. But that joy could also come with pressure on the government because it would mean the legal system sided with him, and that might embolden other activists. But if he's convicted or his bail is denied again, there might be protests, though hopefully peaceful ones. Either way, there will be reactions across the country, and even abroad. And let's not forget, international observers are watching closely. Human rights organizations, the United Nations, and even foreign governments are all paying attention to how Nigeria handles this case. They want to see whether the trial is fair, transparent, and lawful. So every detail, every statement, every courtroom drama matters. Now, to you listening right now, what do you think? Do you believe Joe Igbokwe's comment was right, or was it just too harsh? And do you think Nnamdi Kanu made the right choice by deciding to speak for himself in court? Let me know in the comment section. Your opinions matter, and I read all of them.